It's Memorial Day here in the United States, and with that in mind, I'd like to share an old family story with you. That's one of the great things about doing this. It's, every now and then the question pops up, why did you start your YouTube channel? Why are you doing what you do? And I don't really have an answer for that. This isn't really why I started it. It's just one of the benefits of starting it. Is I don't have any kids, and while I can't totally write off the possibility, because my father's father was 59 years old when my father was born, so theoretically it could still happen. But I think the boat has pretty well sailed on me having any kids. But I don't have anybody to pass these stories down to. I don't have any nieces or nephews either. So I'm going to share them with you, and I'm going to make sure these stories stay alive through this. That's not the reason I started the channel. It's just one of the benefits of doing this. And I have talked before about on a couple of occasions, I've talked about my grandmother's brother, J.L., who died during World War II. He was killed in action storming the beach at Normandy. And I would like to leave a link in the description, also at the end of this video. I'll leave a link to what's actually the 300 subscriber video for this channel. But I'll tell a story in that about J.L., pretty special story, especially if you're interested in. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll just let you go find out for yourself. But it is centered on JL, so I'd like to leave a link to that. But what I'd like to talk about today in this video is my grandmother's cousin, Dewey Bailey. And he had passed away in a veterans hospital, I think shortly before I was born. So or right about the time I was born, maybe. I don't think I ever met him. Yeah, I think it was just a couple of years before I was born he passed away. He had a wild story, and some people may want to call BS on this, but this is a story that was passed down. This is a story They said that he didn't like to tell it a lot, because you can just imagine that once you hear the story, you can just imagine some of the things he had to go through. I definitely want to pass this story on. Now, of course, with JL, I honestly don't know if he was drafted or if he went ahead and signed up. But in Dewey's case, he entered the Army just before World War II started. He didn't exactly volunteer. He had gotten some kind of trouble. I don't know exactly what it was, because like I say, parts of this story have become sketchy over the years. Don't know exactly what happened, but he got in some kind of trouble, and it was pretty common at the time that for them to give the option, you can either go to jail or you can go into the Army. And they gave him one of these options. He could go to the Army for 2 years, or he could spend, I think it was 9 months in jail. Well, he chose the 2 years in the Army. So he goes into the Army, and before he's even out of boot camp, Japanese bomb Pearl Harbor, and the first thing that happens is he gets sent to Europe. Boots barely hit the ground, and he got captured and put in a German POW camp. Now, this particular POW camp, they would get the prisoners up before the sun was even up, and they would put them to work in the mines. They would spend all day down in the mines, and I'm sure they probably gave them a little bit of food and water, but they'd spend all day down there working in the mines, and did not come up until the sun had gone down. So they never saw the sun. Well, they started to notice after a while, so Dewey and some of the other prisoners, they started to notice that it seemed like there weren't as many guards around. They started making note of that. So it seemed like, there's not nearly as many of these Germans around as there used to be. Well, they would find out later that as things were getting rough on the front lines, they were pulling guards out of these POW camps to put on the front lines. So some of them started getting together and talking about it, and they decided, well, we might be in a position where we can actually try and escape, because there are so few guards around. If we band together, maybe at least some of us can get away. So they started waiting for their opportunity. When they finally started to put their plan into motion, it had been about 9 months, ironically enough, since he had been in there. They decided, okay, we're going to try it now, and they went down in the mines like normal. Apparently fewer guards down there in the mines with them. They all got together. They fought back against the guards once they were down in the mine. They waited a little while, fought the guards, actually overtook the guards pretty easily, from what they said. But the thing is, they went running out, and when they ran out of the mines, and from what Dewey says, he ran out of the mines, the sun was out. Well, they hadn't seen the sun in 9 months. So he ran out and he was just blinded. He couldn't see anything because his eyes were not accustomed to seeing the sun and being in that bright light. And so he thought, oh my God, they're just gonna pick us all off. We're all dead. But he started listening, trying to get his eyes to adjust, and he wasn't shot yet. If it were a movie, it would probably not be made, because they would say that there's no way that's believable. But apparently, at the same time that they had decided to try their escape, American forces were liberating the POW camp. So instead of getting shot, there were friendly forces. There were Americans there to help them. I just thought that is just an amazing story. It's just so wild that would happen. But just to go through what he went through, 9 months of never seeing the sun, working down in the mines. They couldn't have been feeding him a whole lot. But then they tried to make that escape, and then they're being rescued at the same time. That apparently a plan to escape that was actually going well at first, but then could have led to disaster. And there are American forces to help them. Unfortunately, I don't have a picture of Dewey. I've gone through old family pictures. I found one that I think might be Dewey, but I'm not really sure. A lot of those old pictures, they didn't have the names on the back or anything. Like I said, I never got the opportunity to meet Dewey. But let me take just a second to first of all, let me thank all of the veterans. I'm lucky enough to live in a part of the country where there is still a great deal of respect shown to veterans. Still a great deal of honor shown to those who put their lives on the line, and particularly the ones who have made the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives protecting what we have and protecting our way of life. And also let me also say thank you to the families of veterans. I think that's something that we don't do enough. They make great sacrifices as well, and many of them have ended up paying the ultimate sacrifice, losing a parent or a child. So let's remember the families of veterans today as well. Now, last week I started a new thing where I put an outtake at the end of a video, and typically what I do here is a little lighter, and so it's usually a blooper. Well, obviously a blooper doesn't really fit for this, but what I would like to do is add a little something. It's actually It's actually from a video I haven't posted yet. It's one I shot a while back, and I just haven't kind of kept it in my pocket. And I cut this part out for time, and I didn't get great shots and stuff like that. And the wind was kind of blowing, but it shows the Veterans Memorial in Archer County, Texas. And I thought that would be an appropriate way to end this one. And of course, you'll have the link to the other video I talked about. Of course, if you're new, you can subscribe by clicking the one-way sign or the red button on the front page. You know how YouTube works. And of course, if you're a returning subscriber, thanks for watching until the end. Thanks to everybody for watching, and a especially thank you to all of the veterans out there. Have a safe holiday, and I will see you next time. An excellent Veterans Memorial here. All the Archer County veterans. Just give a quick look here at the long list of World War II veterans. This whole stone here, in fact, is nothing but World War II veterans, all from Archer County, Texas. There's some more World War II veterans killed in combat. I see Korean, Vietnam. Okay, they've added one here from Iraq. World War I, there's more from World War II. Even more from World War II. And quite a few from World War I too. And even as far back as the Civil War. So it's not a huge memorial, but it is a really nice one.